This podcast is intended for educational purposes only. For our full disclosure, visit nc-midwifery.com. Welcome back to another episode of More About Birth, here with our hosts, Shannon Bennett and Angie Hansen.
Green stuff. Walking path to keep the dirt down.
Toxic.
Yeah, serious.
Craziness.
Hey.
Hello.
We're going to do something kind of fun today, and it should be very comical. So Keith is going to play a dad at a home birth consult, because dads usually have like these different type questions and moms do, like, ew, isn't it a mess? What about all that gook? Yeah. So we're going to have Keith be the dad today, and we are going to do a mock prenatal consult. So we offer a free prenatal consult up to an hour for people interested in finding out about home birth and our services. So Keith,
I should be able to pull this off because I am a dad.
You am a dad.
And I have been at a birth.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while.
Out of your mind, though.
Okay. You want me to?
You haven't been at a birth before.
Okay.
You know nothing.
Put the right cap
So
on.
this is
nothing.
our listeners that are out there wondering about this type of birth.
Right. Like,
Okay.
and what does a consult look like, you know?
Okay.
What questions do I ask?
So can I ask one right now?
Yeah,
We
go
should
for
have
it.
brought our consult sheet.
Yeah, I tell you, this is probably one of the ones that I thought about most about a home birth, and that is a home birth safe?
Yes. A home birth is safe.
Take our word for it. No.
Angie, seriously. Oh, by the way, if Angie blows her nose into the microphone today, just ignore it.
Sorry.
It's like the wind's blowing and allergies are
allergy
nuts right
season.
now.
Yeah, my allergies are out
We're
of control.
Anybody from our
suffering.
immediate area knows exactly what we're talking about, so they won't.
The dry, gritty Tri-Cities.
So obviously, you know, from my perspective, as we get into this consult concept, so if I was a couple coming in here and I was exploring home birth,
if you were a couple, okay, go ahead.
if I was a couple, like
How many
if my
people
wife
you
and
got
I,
in there?
just one.
You know what my mom used to say? We'd say we, and she'd go, "You pregnant, or you got a turd in your pocket?"
Oh my god!
Got a mouse in your pocket?
So I would probably be really concerned about being safe. So
Yeah, that is.
so
one
talk
of the
about that
biggies.
a bit, because then I have a follow-up question about that.
Actually, I tell dads, so if you're comparing apples and apples, it might even be a little safer at home for healthy moms and healthy babies. Home birth midwives only take healthy moms and healthy babies. So, at home, your baby is not exposed to germs that it has no immunity to. And you want to tell them why your baby is immune to things in your own environment?
Yeah, because it crosses the placenta, and they are becoming immune to things that mom is exposed to all throughout the pregnancy.
So you've got that factor.
So you're safer when it comes to
Exposure
in your house, especially like in the current situation.
Right.
most
Oh,
likely.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
and what they call the microbiome, you know,
Mhm.
baby is, they're getting all the good things and they're not exposed to the possibly bad things.
And there's huge, I mean, one of the things we talked about on the podcast, there's some huge science in relationship to that.
Oh, yeah.
That we've actually discussed in
Right.
some of the podcasts.
Well, and I'm not going to say that all people are safer at home birthing
Right.
than in the hospital. That is not a truth.
Well, obviously,
Sure.
there's more equipment, which would be my follow-up question. What do you guys have there for safety equipment? So, for instance, I mean, do you just come in with like a doctor's bag with, with that stuff
No.
in it?
I just make sure to bring my blanket and pillow.
her
personally.
sleeping bag and her
and
chocolate.
some Lily's chocolate.
Hey, it literally looks like we're moving in. And we did a podcast, if you want to go back and watch that one, about what's in our birth bag. And honestly, anything you'd find in a freestanding birth center. So I'm talking a independent birth center, not in the hospital, but an independent birth center like we used to have in Tri-Cities years ago.
Right.
We have everything. We bring oxygen, resuscitation equipment, medications for hemorrhage, medications for seizure, medications for stopping labor in an emergency during transport.
Meds for allergic reactions.
Yes.
Well, isn't it
epi-
true though that people kind of have this perception now that the hospitals are so safe because we've all been there for whatever reason, maybe visiting someone or had a family member there, and they have all the different levels, all the different floors. So I think as a father or as a future dad, if I've never had a birth yet, and I was thinking about home birth, that I would be really concerned about the kind of equipment there.
Yeah, and I get that. And I tell dads all the time that, you know, mama is concerned about the safety of her baby. So that's her main concern in asking questions in a consult. But dad, he's got, is my wife going to be safe? And is my baby going to be safe? So it's kind of a double dip for him. He has twice the concern almost.
Right. But statistics for out of hospital birth are really good. And
healthy moms and healthy
babies. I would say ask your care provider for their stats. If they can't give you some kind of hard concrete number about, I do this many transports a year, I've had this many deaths or morbidities, you know, that type of thing.
We've never had any of those.
We've never had any of those. You have to know your care provider. Some people are comfortable taking more risks than others. For people that don't take unnecessary risks, it's a wonderfully safe place to be.
Okay, so then I would be saying to myself, okay, so we're having this birth at home and you guys have good tools there. What if something goes wrong?
Well, first of all, we have 2 people always for safety. We have a midwife and either another midwife, student midwife, or a trained, skilled birth assistant that has had the training she needs to assist at the birth there for safety.
Plus, I would have a choice to have a doula there as well if I wanted.
You could definitely have a doula. And a doula, medical safety wise, is not really
but another hand on deck.
Bonus, but yes, another hand. So I totally lost my train of thought.
Bringing an assistant to the birth. He said,
for safety.
What happens if something goes wrong?
So first of all, 90 to 95% of the time, you're not going to have anything go wrong that you don't see coming. So Keith has this saying that you can always see the train wreck coming.
Yeah.
Well, with birth, you can usually see the train wreck coming. You got a baby that's not doing well, heart rate's really high, not coming down. What are some other things?
Mom's exhausted. She's had a really long labor. Her uterus is tired. She's going to be more likely to bleed afterwards.
Mom's blood pressure spikes. Mom develops a fever. Just whatever it be. Even if mom just says, hey, I just feel like something's up, or the midwife says something doesn't feel right. So then we just call over to the hospital and say, hey, it's Shannon or it's Angie. We've got a mom here laboring at home. Here's what's going on. We're going to go ahead and head over and just wanted to give you a heads up. Here's the information you need. And we just go to the hospital. And I would say that we're a little more cautious than the average midwife probably.
So you've done how many births?
Almost 600.
So how many times was there something that you felt like you needed to transport for?
Out of all the years, even as a student, I'll include that. Less than 5 ambulance rides, and those were postpartum moms that just were bleeding more than I liked. And
so after the baby was born.
Probably about 5 babies over the years that we've sent in just because I felt like they were laboring a little too much with their breathing, and they needed a little bit of help. We've never lost a mom or a baby.
So really not that often, but there is a procedure and a process if something did start going wrong. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you would automatically transport to the hospital.
Yeah.
A lot of things is just intuition with the whole process.
Right.
So with being at home for you, because I know we had hospital. Okay.
Let me interrupt you. As far as transports, I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel like just because a midwife has a bunch of transports does not mean she's a bad midwife. It doesn't mean that she's had a lot of disaster. Ask her what the transports were for.
Yep.
Because I know we had a period there where almost half of our moms transported, but it was for things that they weren't emergent.
Right.
But it just really wasn't safe to be at home.
Right.
Or
And-
desirable. Sometimes
Or
it's just
yeah.
they decide
I
they're
want an
tired and they
epidural.
want an epidural,
I'm
so
done.
it's pain relief.
Yeah.
It's not an
So
emergency.
sometimes it's actually a choice that the mom just says,
Yeah.
"Hey, I thought I could do this, and I'm not game anymore. Take me to the hospital."
Which is another thing we always tell our moms at any point, if you decide you don't want to do a home birth, that you can be in the middle of the pregnancy, you can be in labor, you can be right before labor starts and say, I don't think I want to do a home birth. Let's go to the hospital and get epidural. We're good.
Us guys, we would say, and there's gals out there would too, we'd tap out.
Yeah.
Yes.
The other
Yes.
thing I really want to say real quick about safety is the continuity of care that you get at a home
Mhm.
birth versus elsewhere, or a
Right.
birth center birth. It changes the safety factor, I think, hugely,
I do
because
too.
we don't miss a moment of that labor. We are there. We're seeing. There's no changing of the guard. So
Mhm.
our knowledge of their complete prenatal history, their health history, it never changes. There's never any crossover. We're
Mhm.
the ones getting the baby's heart tones every time. We're seeing how mom's doing every step of the
There's
way.
absolute continuity.
So anytime
Prenatals.
there's a little blip on the screen, so to speak,
Right.
we're keying into that
Mhm.
immediately. And just because we know these women so well, and there's just no kind of technology that can replace that knowledge and that continuity of care.
We
It's
know
so
them
huge.
so well that
Mhm.
even in labor, we can look at them because we've become friends. You look at them and you know that they're panicked, or you know that they've given up and they're just hopeless.
Or you
Right.
know that they're pale or they're looking a little dazed.
Right.
Whereas if you just walked in and met this person, you may not pick up on
Mhm.
those subtleties. Yeah. So that's huge.
So here's another one. So obviously, is it going to be messy at home because it's a birth, right? So
I mean, not gonna lie, birth can be messy, but I have to say, get an A+
Shannon
For
gets an A++.
cleanup. for cleanup. So here's a scenario.
So it's just like clean up on aisle 7.
No, Shannon, I tell you what, she's the
I-
catch queen. She's like, we are going to prevent mess before it even happens.
Yeah.
Like, she's
don't want to
prepared.
clean it. Let's prevent it.
Yeah.
We have parents get 3 shower curtain liners
Right.
or a roll of plastic, and that goes under the birth pool. That goes on the carpet when we get you up to walk to the bathroom. So it
Goes on
catches
the
drips.
bed.
Goes on the bed. I mean, everything is covered. Weren't you with me at the birth where mom headed to the bathroom? She
Yes.
just jumped up and went.
I caught that baby.
That's right. And it just
Like
came,
midair.
everything came out on the floor.
So-
everything.
Yeah.
Sounds like
Baby poo,
sounds like a
water.
slip and slide
It
to
was.
me.
It was right in the carpet. And
Wow.
I looked at that and I'm like, holy cow. I got that clean.
Oh, yeah.
I got it clean.
So do you take a carpet shampooer with you?
They had a carpet shampooer,
Okay.
but I mean, we have our ways. So before you move on, this mess thing, dads really freak out about it.
I know, but
So
I'm already getting a little
They-
nauseous.
they have this vision of just this disaster. But
Yeah.
honestly, everything's contained. We have disposable everything.
Yeah.
We even start your laundry, wipe up your kitchen or bathroom.
Yeah. I mean, honestly,
anything.
probably sometimes homes even look better when we leave
Yeah.
than when we arrived.
Wow.
If labor's long and we're not busy, we'll clean up their
And
kitchen.
I
or
would
tidy
say
up.
99% of the time, you would never even know that we had been there.
Mhm.
Okay.
Plus, the other thing is, I mean, more than 95% of our births are water births, and people don't realize how much
It's so contained.
that contains things. I mean, everything just gets
Well, and on that vein, moms will be like, what happens if I'm in the pool and all that stuff comes out? And then what happens to me? I'm sitting in it.
Right.
So we always get a big couple pitchers of hot soapy water
yeah.
and have mom wash off as she gets out and dry her up. So it's like showering,
Mhm.
or we
Right.
can reattach the hose and let her, wash off right there. So
Yep.
she comes out clean.
So then you gave me this. This is part of the top questions that you guys get asked in a consult. Can other people come to the birth? Because
Oh, yeah.
I would not want a party. This is not going to be a baby gender reveal. There's not going to be any balloons. It would just be, my births. I that's the part of the thing that probably freaked me out the most was I just didn't want a lot of people
Having
there.
people there.
Yeah, just because I was in that kind of defend, protect you mode.
Mm-hmm.
And even at the hospital, I mean, I remember, I think it was I remember right, it was Bryson's. No, it was Nathan's birth. And there just seemed to be people coming and going as we got closer to the birth. I mean, it was just nonstop. And I felt like it was so intrusive. So I guess if I was to jump on this question as well, can other people come and can we limit that? You're not going to have a bunch of other people there like students and other people like that.
We will have 2 of us for safety.
Okay.
Moms, dads, they can invite as many people as they want. I was just telling Angie, I've had births where they had their mom and dad, their mother-in-law and father-in-law.
It was a gender reveal.
The son, the babysitter, the photographer, the uncle,
and the mom
and
was
the 2 of us.
and the mom was okay, and
she was totally good with it.
She must have just gone into that place.
But
that would make me uncomfortable.
So, and then we've had births where they've had us pretty much just wait in the doorway.
Yeah.
So they had privacy.
Wow.
It's your birth.
Okay. So do I need to go to a regular OB during the pregnancy with home birth?
Go for it, Angie.
No, midwives are trained to take care of moms and babies that are healthy. If a consult or a referral is necessary, we'll take care of that and direct you, to connect with the right person. But in the vast majority of cases, if there is an issue that arises, we're able to do shared care where you maybe see the OB once a trimester and just check in with them.
We even do shared care for twins.
Yeah.
And things like that where we're both working with them and then we just go to the hospital with mama as needed as a doula.
Right. But then the midwife's still able to do their prenatal care and their postpartum care and create that continuity experience.
Visits.
Yep.
So do people ever ask you guys, like, what's your experience? They look for you to give them kind of a, where'd you come from? Have you done this before? So I guess that would be one of my personal questions, which wasn't on your top questions people ask. I would be going, tell me a little, I would be interviewing you.
Mm-hmm. And you can even go online and get like these lists of what to ask a midwife when you interview her.
Right.
But in our consult packet, we have information on our, like the background, where you went to school, what you did, how many births you've done kind of thing, what your philosophy of birth is. So.
And some of that's on your website, right? I don't think we have all of your portfolio on your website, but they can ask you those things. And
probably need to update those numbers too. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Had so many babies lately.
I remember with our first, I think right off the bat, we asked our midwife, our home birth midwife, what are the worst cases that you've dealt with?
Did you really?
We did. And we fired it out and she was like, wow, and most people don't ask me that. But she told us, she gave us an honest answer. And that really spoke to us about her transparency levels, and I wasn't asking it to like, I was asking it more of an experience. No, I was asking it more as an experience. Like, I don't care if you've dealt with disasters. In fact, I would feel better if you've dealt with disasters because I know that you can handle them.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, you're a fireman. Have you had a fire before? Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, have you ever resuscitated someone? It's probably good to know how to do.
So obviously other questions that I would assume people would ask you would be like, what about birth certificates, social security cards? And then the other thing, what about circumcision and all of the stuff that you normally see in the process after a baby's born?
So we'll start with, let's start with the baby. So don't do circumcision, but we give you names of doctors in the area that do.
Right. You're not saying don't do a circumcision. You're saying you don't.
We don't do them. No.
Okay. So you see a doctor.
We don't do that.
See a doctor. So then birth certificates?
Go ahead.
Birth certificates.
Angie loves to file birth certificates. It's her favorite thing to do.
No, we take care of that, and I never can remember which one comes first.
The social comes in the mail.
The social security card comes in the mail automatically.
And that's after you would file a birth certificate?
Yeah, because we do the filing pieces on our end. And so that one comes automatically. And then the birth certificate, you have to go as the parent and locally and pick it up.
I think you can do it online.
You can probably do it online
too,
now. Yeah.
But, and then there's a fee. You have to purchase a certified birth certificate.
Yeah. Okay, and I have another question that would just be on my head if I came in. Can I ask that?
No. I'm scared. What are you going to ask?
So what about insurance and the cost and all of that stuff? Because obviously, do home births get covered by insurance, and do people that want to have a home birth just have to pay cash?
Yeah, it's a common question.
It is. And as far as cost, I don't just shoot out what it's going to cost publicly or to someone who's just inquiring. I say, let's have a conversation, because there are discounts that can apply.
And as a salesperson, I totally understand that value. You have to explain the value and what the service is before you put a cost on it, or it's automatically too expensive.
And even that, when you consider, I'll just say that the average birth in this area is anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000. That does include all the prenatal care.
Is that home births or is that hospital births? Because hospital births are way more expensive than that.
Yes.
Oh yeah, there can be up to $10,000 for
I think
just
we had one.
birth with an epidural.
Didn't we have one that was $7,000-8,000 way back when?
Oh,
I'm trying to remember.
Way back when.
Because I would remember, because those things as a dad are shocking.
I remember the financial end of it.
I'll be paying for this forever. Anyway.
I literally did pay for one birth. That's a long story.
So insurance then, so people can have a birth with insurance through home birth. Is it covered by some insurance companies or not?
So as far as insurance goes, I am not contracted with insurance as a licensed midwife. Some midwives are contracted with insurance. If you're contracted with insurance, then what you pay is the amount that your insurance is not planning to pay. That would be directly to the midwife. And then after the birth, the midwife would bill the insurance for the remainder.
Right.
For midwives who are not contracted with insurance, you pay up front. You can do payments. There are discounts available. And then after the birth, you get a packet with all of the information, all of the coding and billing information. You send it to your insurance and they reimburse you directly because you've already paid the midwife.
Okay. So that's just like when we paid our deductibles in the day, we had to put all that out of our pockets.
Right.
And it wasn't even, insurance may not have covered anything.
Right.
So
a lot of
wouldn't
people
you say that most insurances nowadays do reimburse for a good amount, or at least
yes,
some,
especially some like Primera is really good. Any of the union insurance has been really good.
And the share
and the medical share groups are amazing. Like Samaritan, for instance, pays 100% no deductible for home birth.
Yeah,
with the traditional Samaritan insurance, it's amazing. They'll even pay for supplements, the birth pool rental, all kinds of things.
So in reality, no one should be just automatically saying, no, I'm not going to do that because I'd have to pay for it out of pocket. They should at least have a free consult and then see.
And there are options for Medicaid even to pay for home birth.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you have state insurance.
So what if we need an ultrasound?
Go ahead, Angie.
We send out for those. So we fax over the request for it, and we tell you where to go and how to get there. And
and you pay them directly,
you pay them directly.
Bill your insurance. We do have a handheld ultrasound, bedside ultrasound now, just for confirming pregnancy if need be.
Right.
Or if we can't hear baby's heartbeat for whatever reason, we can get a visual so that mom has peace of mind, but it's just very quick and limited. Lab work is another thing that people ask about. So we actually draw labs in our office and send it out to the lab, which gets billed directly to your insurance, or we can have it billed to us if you don't have insurance.
So obviously you're doing the birth at home because you're a home birth midwife. And that's kind of what we're talking about. The consultation is at home. So what about the prenatals? Is there a difference between like when you go to a regular OB doctor before a birth? What's different about midwife, the whole prenatal process?
The consultation is at the office usually.
Okay.
We throughout the prenatal process, there is usually one prenatal home visit just so we can check out your space, but the rest of the prenatals are in the office. But so Yeah,
okay.
I like to know where I'm going because I'm known as wrong way, do right. And if I don't go ahead of time,
we don't want to be going to the house for the first time in the middle of the night.
In the middle of the night.
So so you have an idea where the location's at.
Right.
And you also
what the setup's
like
going to be.
Yesterday, I went to do a home visit my GPS says the address is on your left. It was actually on my left, but it was a whole street over in a cul-de-sac. And I'm like, it was the middle of a night and the baby was coming quick. Oh,
yeah,
well.
you're in trouble. Yeah.
So what else is the value of being at the house? Do you kind of talk about where the whole thing's going to happen?
Yeah, for sure. We get the lay of the land, where's your bathroom? Where are you planning on setting up this birth? Are you having a water birth? Where's the tub going to fit? A lot of people don't have a good idea of how big those things are. So
where's things in your kitchen we might need?
Yeah.
Or
what kind of laundry detergent do you use?
Where are you going to send the dad for hot water?
Ice cubes.
That's usually to the store though, right?
But there's a huge difference in the appointments. I would say appointments are an hour long. They're very relaxed. Our goal is to get to know this family, this mama, this couple. It's not just medical facts. We're going to do all the same things you do in a traditional prenatal, listen to baby, measure, get your weight, your blood pressure, that sort of thing. But we want people to get a chance to know us.
It's a relationship.
And we want to get to know them. We want to talk about their questions, their fears, how they're doing emotionally, how they're doing in their relationships, because all these things go into a successful birth.
Counseling session almost, or sometimes we drink tea and chat about life.
Well, from my perspective, just kind of, working from home now and seeing this, we talked about this last week. Some people, they'll come into a prenatal and they're just in and out. They're like all business. And then there's other people, they're talking to you on the way out the door. It's like, I think I appreciate that. So if someone's all business and they need to get in and get the work done, and other people, I've seen you talking to them as they're leaving the house like they're lifelong friends.
And some people don't want to leave. If I didn't have another appointment afterwards, it'd be like they're ready for a third cup of tea,
Right,
awesome.
Which is fun.
Okay, so talk about water birth. I was not sold at all. I swam in high school. I was a diver, so I'm not afraid of water. But for something about a baby coming out in the water, so talk about water birth. Is that a possibility for people with you guys?
We rent birth pools.
Okay.
We give them to you at 36 weeks.
And I know we've had podcasts before, but for people that are listening, what are some of the kind of the values of a water birth?
Pain relief. Pain relief. We call it the midwife's epidural or an aquadural.
So is it like a hot tub or?
I'd say we keep it at 100 or below.
And it's nice and big and roomy, and it's squishy sides, so it's comfy.
So
easy to move and change
So do I
position.
set up a pool? Do you guys offer?
We give you the pool at your 36-week appointment, along with your birth kit and your herbs and all the other things that we offer. You take it home. We have you blow it up and make sure that everything works right and there's nothing going on.
Like with my lips?
No, we give you an air pump.
You're done when you pass out.
We give you an adapter to connect a hose to your faucet or
Come on, you laugh,
stuff.
but a guy, if I was doing a consult, I go, do I have to blow it up?
Yes, you do.
Head rush.
So you get all the parts and pieces. We bring a pump with us, a little sump pump to pump it out into your toilet. The only thing you have to do is buy a brand new clean water RV drinking water hose.
Okay.
So there's no chemical in it. So pain relief, ease of movement.
Yeah, less possibility of tearing.
It's just mom has her safe little space.
Right.
And you don't have to birth in there. You can just labor in there.
Yeah.
Not birth.
So that's awesome. So that's an option. So then what's happens after? The baby's born.
Well,
and
there's
then what?
a disposable liner everyone has for sanitary reasons and cleanup. We pump the water out. You don't have to get out immediately. A lot of moms will deliver the placenta in there, most of them.
Snuggle their baby.
So what if you spring a leak in the middle of a water birth? Has that happened?
Yes.
Like mom's water breaks?
No, I know that happens, right?
Oh, brother.
But I'm talking about the pool, the hot tub. But what is it called? The birth pool.
The birth pool?
Yeah, this has happened. Actually, I have a picture of it.
Yeah.
You have a picture of a leaking?
I have a picture of
Shannon with her hand under the liner in this way, plugging a hole so the air doesn't leak out because the birth is almost over.
Are you serious? In the middle of the birth, you're plugging a hole.
And then there was the time.
So you get paid extra when those things happen? Or you just have extra fun and something to laugh about?
Fun.
Oh, man. Then there was the time Actually, it was one of Sierra's births. The birth pool kept losing air. We found out later it was because one of the caps wasn't screwed on tight enough.
No.
But it kept losing air, and we'd have to go blow it up. And then
It's so funny when it does that because it just like
It just kinda-
collapses and looks wimpy.
Yeah.
So I see all this water. So you put plastic down, shower curtains. Have you guys ever slipped and fall and look like a complete?
Well, the only time we've ever leaked water was at the birth. I remember the pool was it was on its last leg.
Yes.
And so I took a knife and was going to slash the bottom
Yeah.
to let the air out. Well, there was water somehow trapped in the bottom little.
In the in
Oh,
between.
in the air thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what was going on with this pool. And I went a little too deep, and it went through both layers, and it started pouring out all over the floor. There wasn't much water in the bottom of the pool.
There was some mopping going on.
Yeah. Their floor was clean when we were done. It was hard floor.
They couldn't tell.
So it sounds to me like it's more fun to be at a home birth than it is going to be at a hospital birth. It seems that a hospital.
It's
fun.
loads of fun.
We've done some crazy things. The Cupid Shuffle at 2 a.m.
Woo!
What's some other
only
weirdo
you had a
things
video
we've
of
done?
that.
Did you slip and fall ever?
We fall all the time.
No, but I'm talking about on water or the slippy
One time
shower
when I was
curtain.
a student, it wasn't the water from the water pool. It was mom's water broke on the hard floor. And I had one of those like kneeling pads that we use to kneel next to the pool on hard floors.
Right.
It was sitting there. Well, she was literally crawling back to her bathtub, and her water broke. And I take a step to follow her. My foot hits this kneeling pad, and it just goes flying. And I
Now
did
that-
like a Fred
I wish I had a shot
Flintstones,
of.
Surfing USA.
surfing on amniotic
So
fluid.
just in the future, Angie, could you please just
Oh
have this
yeah, she's gonna
camera?
have her camera
Get your
ready
camera
constantly.
out. No, I think she should have it in a pocket, in her smock, and just go.
It'll
if
be
I
my
catch
necklace.
this, if I catch Shannon, I'm getting Keith these shots.
Oh
so
my goodness.
I do have a shot of me plugging the hole in the birth pool.
really.
Yeah.
So the craziest, I want
that
that shot. So the craziest question you've been asked in a consult,
Oh
just
man.
outlandish questions that you've been asked, or surprising questions that.
Well,
So-
they all ask about pooping during labor in the birth pool. And of course, we did a whole podcast on that.
Yeah, which I thought was crazy, and then now I realize that you can do a whole podcast on, and you can actually do some really cool B-roll.
Oh my lands.
So okay,
We
so the dads kind of go in conservative. What was there like anything they're saying at the end when the baby's done and they've been this experience? What are some? Because we're really talking some of these hardcore questions
I've
in a consult.
not found a dad yet. Can you think of anybody that hasn't been like, that was awesome?
Yeah, I would say it's either positive, or if they're more of a quiet type, they won't give a ton of feedback, but it's not negative.
Yeah, anybody I've ever asked asked the
Right.
mom, what did he think about
Yeah.
the birth? They're like, he thought it was great.
Yeah.
I know for me, it was an amazing experience. So I would highly recommend it to anybody that really wants to experience a birth.
Yeah. And when you come for a consult, anything you want to ask is okay. In fact, I love the questions. We think it's fun.
It is fun.
when people ask questions.
Cool. So they could come and get a consult, and that's some of the questions they're most likely going to ask that we talked about.
Those are some of the most common ones we get. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there any questions that I didn't ask that you think is important to cover before we call it a?
I think those are the main ones. We just want to tell people that you can ask anything.
I feel
Anything you
totally
want.
confident now. I want to sign up for a
You want to sign
home
up for a
birth.
home birth?
I just need a.
You already did that.
I need
Keith
a.
wants to go back and redo this now with all this
already
new
did it.
information.
I need a pregnant wife. Ha ha ha.
Oh my gosh. You need to edit that.
Woo, woo, woo.
Why would I edit that? That's a perfect line, including your response.
Thanks, guys, for
It's
joining
not even
us.
possible.
It's been
See you later.
fun.
Well, we hope you enjoyed that episode of More About Birth. We'd invite you to subscribe on our YouTube channel. You can find us at More About Birth, Shannon Bennett on YouTube, as well as visit our nc-midwifery.com podcast page for all the audio versions. Until next time. This podcast is intended for educational purposes only. For our full disclosure, visit us at nc-midwifery.com and our podcast page.